You show up at a party. Everything's fine. You know people. You're not scared, not anxious. You just don't speak. You observe. You listen. And then someone inevitably asks, "Are you okay?" As if silence were a symptom. That's what we're going to unpack today. There's a certain type of person you barely hear in a group, but not because they have nothing to say. They process everything around them with such depth that while everyone else manages to say 3 sentences, they've already mentally run through 6 versions of the conversation and decided none of them were worth the effort. This isn't shyness. It isn't arrogance. It's a specific way of existing in the world. While others wait for their turn to speak, the quiet person in the corner has already noticed that Katya changed the subject the moment her father was mentioned. That Dima's voice drops just slightly when he says, "Everything's great." That 2 people at the table have been avoiding looking at each other since last Friday. Silence isn't emptiness, it's active work, just invisible. Not in a pretentious way, in the sense that they literally think before they speak. They don't have a talk to fill the silence mode. And that's exactly why, when a person like this does say something, it's usually something worthwhile. People who know them well can feel it, but in a new group, this works against them. Because conversation doesn't wait, it flows, and the quiet person drops out of it not because they have nothing to say, but because the moment has already passed while they were still formulating. This is the most important part. It's not snobbery, even though it can look that way. There's research by Matthias Mell from the University of Arizona. People commonly labeled as introverts don't just talk less. They experience significantly less satisfaction from small talk. It's literally a different neurochemistry. A conversation about the weather and gas prices isn't just boring, it's physically draining. But a conversation about what truly moves a person, about fear, about meaning, about that strange feeling at 3 in the morning when you're not sure if you're living right, that's what lights them up. Completely. And here we get to the most uncomfortable part. For many quiet people, this isn't just temperament, it's adaptation. Somewhere in childhood they learned, sometimes explicitly, sometimes through 1,000 tiny signals, that it's safer to watch than to speak. That words can be dangerous. That it's better to fully understand a situation before stepping into it. A child raised in an unpredictable environment learns to read a room before most kids learn to read at all. It's survival, and it works. Right up until the survival strategy starts getting in the way of living. Because adaptations don't disappear when the threat is gone. They become you. When a person is silent, they're not absent. A full life is going on inside. They're listening to music and simultaneously thinking about a conversation from 3 years ago that they've only just understood. They're building theories about the people at the table. They're reliving something from last week, only now it's finally clear to them what really happened. This isn't an escape from reality. It's a different pace of processing reality. It's just that most of it happens inside. This one is the quietest and the most destructive. Many quiet people are convinced, not on the level of thought, but on the level of a feeling that's hard to even put into words, that their presence adds nothing, that their words aren't interesting, that if they spoke up, it would be awkward, poorly timed, unnecessary. They would never say that about another person. If someone came to them with that belief, they would immediately argue against it. But about themselves, they believe it. Quietly, firmly, for years. The cruelest part? The silence that starts as protection eventually becomes confirmation. You don't speak, you aren't heard. You become convinced you have nothing to say. The circle closes. So what do you do with all of this? It's useless to say, just start talking more. That's like telling someone with a fear of heights, just look down and relax. Technically correct advice and completely useless. The real shift is slower. It starts with one simple question that quiet people almost never ask themselves. What if the people around you are actually interested in what you think? Not to make an impression, not to be more sociable, but simply because you're already there, already in the room. And your silence is also a presence, just a one-sided one. You can still be the person who listens, who thinks before speaking, who doesn't fill the silence for the sake of it. It's just that sometimes you can allow yourself to be heard. And one last thing, no longer about some abstract quiet person. If something in this video made your chest tighten, you know why. If this video resonated, subscribe and turn on notifications. The next one is coming soon.